So that should take us to the forefront, right?
Absolutely. We got to win.
Okay. Thank you. And this, David, is?
Yeah, this is the crypto EO. We're going to be forming an internal working group to make to make America the world capital in crypto under your leadership.
Which is really going up, right?
Absolutely.
In government do not take this seriously, and a lot in the media do not take this seriously and mock us at News Nation, me specifically, for covering it the way we do. They think it's like a gambit, that it's a joke that we just do because it plays to all the tinfoil hat people. They're wrong. It's about transparency from our government, and they're not telling us the truth. It doesn't mean that they've got a zoo of little green men. But today, the president signed an executive order that establishes a new federal task force to combat rogue drones and also enables local law enforcement to start taking drones down. What does this mean in terms of the march for transparency and truth? Let us ask former Pentagon UFO investigator and whistleblower Luis Elizondo. Lou, thank you for joining me.
Chris, always my privilege for being here. And before we begin, let me just give you a big thank you for your last segment on behalf of a lot of us veterans covering that. Very much appreciated. Thank you.
Oh, listen, it is my privilege and pleasure. I mean, you know well, you guys have been keeping people like me alive all over the world in the worst situations when you know we're going to report on things that you're not going to want to hear. So you don't have to convince me who's the best of us. So, back to the rest of us. Trump signing this executive order matters because?
Yeah, first of all, I think it's really something that hasn't been done before. It's recognizing the issue. The bottom line is we don't know what's in our skies, and drones continue to be an issue. In fact, back in 2023, there was actually a collision with something unidentified with an aircraft. This is something we've been saying for a long time, for many years. And in fact, some of our best pilots as well, F-18 pilots and other pilots as well, F-22 pilots, have been filing some of these with what you call near air collision air safety reports. So this is nothing new. I think it's fantastic that this administration is taking this topic seriously. We have been calling for the creation of a task force now for some time. And I think it's great news that our government is finally listening to the demands of the people and to our national security apparatus.
Now, in terms of the avenues to go down, a couple of controversial aspects. First one comes from the new AARO director, okay, Kozlowski. Listen to what he said.
How much of a priority is this work for President Trump and Secretary Hegseth?
No new directives, but lots of support. We seem to have the full support of the administration.
Can you say categorically that there is no intact spacecraft or part of a spacecraft that the U.S. government is holding?
I have not been able to corroborate any of those claims. It's a potential problem, a national security problem, a safety of flight issue.
Potential non-human intelligence?
Perhaps.
So, potential non-human intelligence, he says perhaps. That opens the extraterrestrial argument. But on the other part, he's contradicting Dave Grush. He's saying, because Dave Grush says he knows, whistleblower, he knows that they have spacecraft or pieces of something, and this guy says no. What do you think?
Well, look, first of all, Kozlowski is not your quote-unquote father's Oldsmobile. He is not like the previous AARO director that was really just trying to obfuscate and push the narrative in one direction. Kozlowski is very well trained. He has incredible experience in the intelligence community, and he's very well respected. So when he's telling you something to the effect of, look, there is something here, we don't know what it is, and we can't rule out it being extraterrestrial, I think it's fair. Now, to say that he hasn't found any evidence to substantiate what Dave Grush said, the bottom line is that there's a lot of people that don't trust AARO. And that's a fact because of the previous leadership, not Kozlowski's fault. In fact, this was highlighted just a few weeks ago when the FBI team that's also studying and investigating UAP for the U.S. government and the Bureau reported to Congress. And the result of that was Representative Luna coming out in public and saying that maybe the time has come to reconsider and perhaps defund AARO because in the words of Luna, the briefing she received from the FBI was a 10 out of 10. So I don't think Kozlowski is necessarily lying or deceiving. I just don't think a lot of people trust AARO enough yet to go to AARO instead of Congress.
The other narrative is this, and it shows how far behind on this story so much of the media is. The Wall Street Journal releases what they call a bombshell story about how the U.S. government, it's this guy is calling the Wall Street Journal's story a bombshell, not the Wall Street Journal saying it themselves, that the U.S. government fabricated alien tech and allowed UFO rumors to fester in order to cover up their super secret tech. Now, you know, we've been talking about this for years. This is an aspect. I want you to clarify what's real and not real here, because I see it as a 50-50. Does the U.S. government allow UFO stuff to cover some of their own tech and activities? Yes.
In fact, it has in the past. You're absolutely right.
But they have not fabricated everything that's supposedly alien technology. There's a lot of stuff they have no idea what it is.
You're absolutely correct. In fact, what you're referring to is back in the early days of the stealth program, what they used to call tacit blue and have blue programs back in the 70s and 80s, before we actually introduced the world to the fact that we had stealth technology. A lot of times we were testing this new technology over our test ranges like Area 51. And unfortunately, sometimes the civilian population would see this type of technology. And rather than correct the public and say, no, this is actually our technology, we were okay with allowing them to create their own narrative that it was some sort of unidentified flying object, UFO in the old vernacular. That's what we call denial and deception, also cover for action. It's not uncommon in the intelligence community. It's not uncommon in the classified world. The problem is if you do it too much when you have real UAP issues, then what you wind up doing is oversensitizing people to this story that everything is just U.S. tech, when the reality is it's absolutely not all U.S. tech.
Lou, thank you so much, as always. Appreciate you. Hopefully this is a step in the right direction. We'll be on it.
Thank you for covering. You're doing a great job, Chris. Thank you so much.
Yeah, come on in.
Do you know there's a UFO UAP division at the FBI?
Yes.
Yeah. Your House colleagues just learned that. And now they want to take AARO's funding. Now they want AARO's funding to go to the FBI because the FBI was more open with them. So they say. What do you make of that?
Not much. This is first I've heard that they were looking at doing anything with it.
Yeah.
So.
Well, they said they actually had different images that they showed them that AARO never had.
That doesn't surprise me any.
Well, why not? How do you guys increase that coordination? And
that's one of the reasons why when we hear this kind of stuff, we go back and we start following up on it. So, this is the first I've heard about that particular
sounds
deal.
like you got to call up Doge. Get the band back together. Have a good one, sir. Thanks for listening to Ask a Pole.